All right, we'll call this meeting to order at 7 o'clock. Roll call.
Baxter. Here. Harper. Here. Bassett.
Here.
Thank you. Mackey. Green. Here. Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to the approval of the agenda as presented.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? Ayes have it. All right, we will open the floor to public comment. I'd like you to keep it to 5 minutes for respect of the council's time. Dana?
Dave Hildenberg asked me to bring this in. I think he gave city clerk a copy of this to get it to the members.
I did not, because it cannot be on the agenda for,
Well, I understand that, but he just wanted to make sure that they do.
they will, when we put it on the agenda.
Okay, so then I'm asking to get it on the agenda for next month.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. Also, I'd like on the agenda for next month, we discuss this also is noise ordinance for the city of Cambridge. And then also, dust issues with the co-op. So what this letter was that they brought down to the clerk to have her make copies, he knew he couldn't get it on the agenda, but he wanted to make sure somebody was here to talk, to let you guys know this is. So I'm gonna read this to you. This is from Dave. This isn't me writing this. This is Dave. He's talking about the road dust issue on 310th Avenue in Cambridge. That's on the south side of the co-op. Okay. I talked to the director of roads for Story County, Darren Moon. He told Dave that the city can have the property of the road moved to the south fence and then claim ownership to the street, and then the city can actually name the street. This will change the boundary line, so the city will assume responsibility for that whole street. Therefore, we can pave or reduce dust for help with property owners there along, right along that. He's asking that they just scrape the gravel off and seal coat that. Is what they would like to see on that. Right now, the city owns half the road and the county owns half of it. Because that's where the city limit line is down there, but the county is willing to give up their portion to the other guys. If the city wants to, well, assume. The road. So basically, he wanted me to kind of read this to you a little bit. He said, since the expansion of Heartland down there, those two metal grain bins have added about 900,000 bushel extra storage down. The average truck carries about 1,100 bushels, so the total 818 loads to the elevator. This is built. So if you have 800 coming in, you're going to have 800 going out. Plus, you're going to have other trucks during the year, guys bringing grain in and the off season that sell at night at that time. Then also he has on here, the garbage guys has about 25 trucks now, and a lot of them, instead of coming through residential area in the morning, when they're leaving out here, going south and then going out on that gravel road there also. Iowa Concrete has 7 trucks, and there are, and then he says here, there's 7 homes that are located on 310th Avenue. So they're, you know, you're talking another 8-10 vehicles. So. You know, I know some of you aren't familiar with the dust issue we have down there. The road dust isn't that. It it is an issue. But also the grain dust is even a bigger issue than the dust from the road. So that's why he's bringing this in to help eliminate some of that, but we have to have some type of a city ordinance for the noise. And I think there's already one in there for the dust portion of it. And if you guys, there are ordinances out there in other communities. City of Des Moines has one. I think Aiken has one also that we could actually get copies so that we're not paying somebody to remanufacture a wheel there. It's already out there. But we kind of, he brought this down. I know he went camping, but we're trying to get on this and maybe we can get some of that slowed down a little bit when harvest starts, because I'm assuming probably the 1st of October, they'll start hauling trucks. Somewhere at the end of September, 1st of October, start hauling right back up. So I know some of you aren't very familiar with the amount of stuff that comes out of there. It's a lot. Every time they come in and load the truck or unload the truck. So it's not just during harvest when the dust is, it's also when they're loading out. Now, one issue wasn't even talked about on there is the amount of trucks that we've increased that we shove up, we go up Race Street now because of that's the truck route through town. So that might be something we also might want to consider looking at and making an adjustment on that. And I know PD's been watching, they've had speed sign or the speed radar up there trying to let them know, but I don't know if that's done anything, because when they're not around, they still blow that stop sign there coming off the Race or going into this. Anyway, I just want to make sure this and the other 2 items get on the agenda for next month.
Good.
That's all.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? All right, we'll close the public comment section. We'll move on to property 108 South Water. Go ahead and stand up and.
Yeah, 102.
For 217.
You saying the other one is one of.
102.
Oh,
not
102. Oh, it's,
This is the house.
Gotcha. okay. Want to stand up and tell us about yourself and what's going on?
Well, I agree that the building is in bad shape and it needs work. Everything you've listed is all stuff I wanted to do and intended to do. I just didn't know it was a problem until last week. I'd like to get some more time, an extension on the time. Kind of time you want to do. And I've got a question about a few of the things that are listed here. If the 102 South Water Street is a parking violation, pulling equipment outside and trailer not on permanent pad. There is no mower outside. Scott DeYoung made me get rid of my trailer several years ago. And there's no vehicles at 102 South.
That's the
Water.
property right there you're talking about right there.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
There's no trailer there.
There's no vehicles parked there.
Right.
Right.
Except for when I go to the sometimes I'll park on the grass so that
Yep.
I don't have to block the street when I'm mowing, and it says here mowing equipment. The only time there's mowing equipment outside is when I'm mowing.
Right.
So I don't understand that one. It says construction work being performed without a permit. I haven't done any construction work. I don't think repairs would require a permit, would it?
Are you still talking about your,
I'm still talking about 102.
the 102 with the boarded up windows? That one right there?
Yeah.
I think that one there's more of, what is it, dilapidated or derelict property. If you want to talk about the building with the boarded up windows and stuff, that's more along that. And at that time, there had tall grass to it.
Yeah, I'm trying to do better on it.
So any
boarded up
buildings,
windows. Which ones are you talking about?
any,
There's some windows on the south side that are missing.
Uh-huh,
but I really haven't ordered it up.
and on
yet.
the, on the
I'm
back
planning,
side,
huh?
there,
That
and then you got the back side. Back there. So it looks more of an abandoned building. It's not kept up, there's not paint on it, the roof on it's ready to fall in.
Yeah, I agree, it's in bad shape.
Okay, well, that's what you're getting served for. That's what it is.
So I'm just asking for more time.
So picture here was taken on May 25th of this year. You got served that on 8/8 of August. How much more time do you need?
Given me 7 days so far.
Well, it's been sitting like this for 2.5 months.
also comes down to money. You
Mowing
have
the
to have
yard.
finances to do the
Sure,
work on
but
that.
mowing the yard and picking brush up, that's a little thing you could do
Yeah, I agree.
every once in a
Yeah,
while.
I'm not talking about,
Put some paint on it.
yeah, give me some time and I will.
Is it against city code?
How much, what's time? How much time?
I don't know, 3 or 4 months.
Geez, it'll be in the winter by then. It's hard to paint in the winter time.
Well,
Is it against city code?
It is, it is. It is. It actually is. Yeah, there's a whole book in here with a bunch of ordinance. You're more than welcome to come up and read through it anytime you'd like. Okay? Explains all of this in there. We are not doing anything, we're not making up anything new.
I know that.
Okay,
I just wasn't aware
you're
of it.
questioning us.
I just wasn't aware of it until a few days.
Like
ago.
I said, there's a big book in here.
And
You're
I need
welcome to read through it anytime.
Well, I didn't know it was a problem.
Okay? So you want to move on to your other property?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay? Again, this is May 25th.
Brush pile, I agree the brush pile needs to be picked up. I've been on him about it all summer, and he knows it needs to be picked up.
Okay.
What else is the problem there?
I think you got some of the vehicles. That red truck hasn't moved, something like that. Is that part
This
of it?
doesn't drive it very often.
Yeah.
It's been multiple times.
Yeah.
It runs into
Okay,
His brown truck and the Toyota both need work. And if I register those, I'll be allowed to fix them up and keep them, right?
the brown, with the brown truck?
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as it's registered, has all the body panels on it, it's parked on rock. Looks like your other two there are parked out on grass.
No, there's rock, just there's grass.
So in the ordinance, it says right there that if you have a rock driveway, you have to maintain that, not to have grass grow up between it.
Okay,
It's in the ordinance.
I thought-
We're not making any of this up.
Lots of people have grass growing in their
Yeah,
driveway.
well, they need to maintain it. And if you're gonna tell me that's parked on rock, then you need to maintain it.
There's rock there, there's just grass growing in it.
I got some Roundup, I'll spray the grass.
What else you got on there?
Says parking violation.
Yeah, that's probably just the two vehicles there.
Okay. Nuisance violation,
Probably the truck
okay,
and nuisance of the brush.
well, I guess that covers it.
Yep.
All I'm asking for is time, that's all.
Response from the council? Any comments? You're requesting 3 to 4 months?
Yeah,
Was original, when we took pictures back in May, was a letter sent?
letter wasn't sent until the 8th of
The
this
8th,
month.
the 8th of August.
I don't mind extending it like month or two, but like we've talked about with other properties, nobody's working in the dead of winter.
For the brush and stuff, I can see a month or two. For less on the brush, but fixing up the building, I'm gonna need more time.
Is the truck with the lumber in it run?
Yeah. Yeah, doesn't run very good, but it runs.
Could we say have the brush cleaned up by 01 November and show some progress? with the building improvements? I mean, I'm just throwing out there a date.
I think that's reasonable.
Well, I'm, like I said, I'm not saying, I'm just throwing it out there. But I think it's important to show some progress. I mean, the repairs, I can understand that they're probably costly, there's something I need to be budgeted for.
Yeah, I've got some siding. Stored in the rack, I mean, this year.
I feel like November first, rush gone, yard cleaned up, kill the weeds, show some progress on the building. And I think that's reasonable.
I appreciate
I
that.
just, I don't think, yeah, that's just me, man.
Any other comments?
Guideline then for the building? Are you counting everything by November first or?
Show
I
progress.
was making a suggestion that brush removal, weed kill. Get the parking violation squared away and show some progress on the building by November first. That was an idea.
Okay.
I was just throwing it out there.
How do we define progress?
Sort of step-by-step plan of how this is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, I think
timeline.
Aesthetically, it's bothersome and I don't know, I haven't been around it structurally. But I would imagine the structural portion of it is probably a higher priority, so nobody gets hurt. I personally, I could care less what it looks like if you've got a plan that
I
it
need to
better.
knock that chimney
Okay,
down. I need to do that. As far as the rest of the furniture goes, I think it's sound.
so could we say chimney removal and coat of paint
For siding,
or siding
yeah.
by November first, and then deal with the rest of it as you have time and money? That's just an idea.
As long as you're gonna make this offer with every other person, because there's a long list that went out.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm just throwing it out there.
I'm just throwing it out there
You're
too.
perfectly fine, sir, to say, no, I want it done by October first. Or I want it done by the end of this month,
Yeah,
It's up to the council. to make-
I'd like to see it a little sooner.
a little sooner,
Yep,
okay?
I don't wanna get into the cold months.
What happens if we don't make it?
$750 first fine.
Pay that.
What's
We
it-
can't afford to fix the
what
building.
happened?
It'll be assessed to your taxes, your property taxes. So you'll deal with the county on that.
Which it was.
So I mean, you could take the same idea I had originally and bump it up a month. And you're still in the temperate part of the season. You're not into the cold weather season, we should.
We're supposed to have hot winter this year.
Well. Weathermen are the type of guys that can keep their jobs and they're wrong all the time. I'll,
Anybody else?
Maybe mid-October and then show us a timeline for the plans to clean it up. Give us, start your work. Then. One, report by mid-October or some progress.
So are you saying like at the October council meeting, report back, give us a written plan?
And have some work done.
Yeah.
Well, brush gone, weeds killed,
Yeah.
and upkeep.
Maybe
Yeah, I
lumber
get
lumber
that.
out of that truck.
Pretty quick. What's that?
Have the lumber out of that truck. That's.
Yeah, that's so much. Material that was the ceiling of our porch. I've got the pages, so please bear with me. And we had a fire on the back porch, and I'm gonna use that. It matches, you know, what's left of the ceiling material on the back porch. And I'm gonna use that for the ceiling. Why it's still in the drive. You know, when you got a budget to work with, you did what you had, you recycle and repurpose. Do what you had to.
Are we looking for an actionable thing that's, do you have to vote on this or what?
My understanding is you guys are asking him to report back at the October council meeting, with proof of some,
Brush gone?
Yep.
Weeds dead. Parking violations taken care of and a written plan to move forward.
you guys would like to extend that then till October meeting, council meeting for progress.
Right.
Okay, just so I know how to put it in the minutes.
Good with that?
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. Any further comment? No? All right. Moving on. Presentation by the library board.
I am the president of the Kings Memorial Library. These are our library board members with us. We would like to make a formal request to have our library open 40 hours a week. We'd also like our librarian to become a full-time city employee. Mike, did you give them the paper?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm not gonna read all this, because it's lengthy, but, there's, daily and weekly duties, there's monthly duties, there's yearly duties, things that, Lori has to do. Part of the problem is, she needs some uninterrupted time to prepare and complete the necessary requirements for her position. With more hours, we could promote the library. We're also serving Elkhart, that would give her more hours to help with that. Just consistent hours throughout the week would keep patrons faithful to our library, and they would not be seeking it in other towns. Our patron numbers are increasing with 888 new patron cards issued in 2022, which is fantastic. In June of 2023, just June alone, the library had 753 people come through in June. That's huge for our little library. We've never seen numbers like this. People are staying, they're using the library, which is exciting. Instead of just checking out their books, they're staying, they're socializing, but that also takes time away from Lori also. So, we just think it's time to make our librarian a full-time employee of the city, and that's our request.
If I could add to that a little bit as well, I've been working with the library board now for 2 years, and one of the things that came up both when I started working with them was the mayor took me aside, he said, whatever it is you do in the spirit that reflects community connection and growing Cambridge. And in that light, I couldn't be more proud of a group of people or community members, or Lori herself as our librarian, because they've been in lockstep with the mayor's vision every step of the way. The amount of connection that's being generated is so overwhelming for them that when they're working their 5-year plan, they've got very strict rules that they have to follow from a lady at the state. It's got several nicknames due to her energetic and enthusiastic approach to having people toe the line. The library board identified one of their primary goals is using the library to increase community connection. And they're going through and identifying individual objectives and then fleshing in specific activities that are going to reflect that motion. That's all based on the leadership of one person. And she's doing a smashing job. I'm super proud of her. So I'm going to work to try and help the library board get this one way or the other. I don't know what, I haven't had a chance to talk in a great amount of detail to a lot of the council members or the mayor. I have a pretty good sense of where one of you are at, but I'd like to hear what your thoughts are, and then honestly, I'd like to table this and bring it up at a work session so we can really take a deep dive into it and break it down, because I don't want this to be a one-trick pony, and I would like us to not put it off for a long time. I'd like to see something move forward and find the means to get it done as quickly as possible. That's about all I have to say about that.
So we need a plan in place, starting when we start working on the budget then, so we can start fitting it in.
I think that might be the easy part of this. Finding money to give her that 40 hours and reward her in some way for the hard work that she's doing in the interim. is probably gonna be the tougher road to hold. Because we are already halfway through the budget cycle, it wasn't the best timing for the idea to come about. We've been here before, we worked to get a raise. So I'd like us to take a look at what monies we do have, and if there's a way that we can reallocate. Not necessarily, we're not looking at having to pay an entire salary. It would augment what she's already getting. But I think that that's a discussion that is better had in a work session and give everybody a chance to, if you know any of these board members, ask them questions. Every time one of them is extraordinarily knowledgeable. And they're very passionate about using the library, not only as a means of getting books in people's hands and getting the resources they need to live a higher quality of life. But they really, really have their heads wrapped around using the library to connect.
So when are you thinking about starting the work session? You want to start it more towards the December, December, right now?
I would like to do one between now and the next meeting. So that we can, I mean, if there are impasses, if there are barricades and impasses, that's understandable. But I want to explore all the options to make sure that there is, you know, if there is no way that we explore it and we realize, okay, this isn't gonna work. The other part is that they do have monies available just within their own budget that are not earmarked for anything at this time. We don't know if they can allocate those funds to reimburse payment. You know, so those are things that we have to explore that we're not prepared to at this point in time.
Also, when we came to the board a while back and we talked, we were told to get into the new library, see how it does. Then we'll talk about the full-time librarian, and we've always just kind of been put off and tabled, and I guess we're all to the point now where we've proved it, Lori's proved it. The library is doing very well, we're very proud of everything that's going on, and now it's time to take that extra step.
Mr. DeBrick, can I get you guys' permission to share that data table?
You certainly can.
When we have a work session, I'll have a data table that demonstrates the growth that the library has experienced across a wide range of categories that are specifically towards,
Lori gave you guys all that
Yeah.
city council meeting.
Yeah, I got it.
that would be worth pulling out, taking a peek at it. But like I said, it's,
Look at it before the next.
I did, I read some of the comments in there. Nice.
yeah, there may actually be some of the people who participated in that survey in the room right now.
Could be.
That's good data. Data is a great way of understanding where we should be putting our resources and where maybe we need to pull resources back from, or where we need to approach the problems with a different course of action.
And also, I feel like how important the library is to the community. It's not just a place where Lori sits at the desk, it's a very important part of Cambridge, and one of the nicest parts of Cambridge right now.
Yeah, the library is rated one of the highest, tier 3, which is the highest rating in Iowa,
Yes,
and it's a valuable economic development.
and we're a tiny library for that.
Yeah, so it's a valuable asset to Cambridge.
And we don't want this worry.
And we even had some data in this, our board meetings precede the council meetings monthly. And in the board meeting, we actually had data where we had patrons, not card carrying patrons, but people who came to the library from Nevada, Elmora, Slater. I don't have the list of community, but you know, those people aren't even on our radar. We serve the population in the rural area around Cambridge and Elmhurst.
We're gonna go.
Any further comments, questions?
I guess the only comment I have is there is no disagreement how wonderful our library is and the growth and what I see. I did share this with one member on the library board. My only concern is, you know, and I don't know situation, I see it on Facebook about just it seems to be more often, that the library is closed or we're opening late or closing early or just closed for the day. So my concern would be if we're closing already, those times when she's part-time, my concern would be, would this increase if we make it full-time? So just wanted to put that out there as something to consider.
I disagree with that assessment that was just given. When one person is running a department and they have a family illness or are sick themselves, what would people in the town and the council expect to happen? There's nobody there to jump in and take that spot.
You took the words out of my mouth. I thought the exact same thing when we only had one clerk and one public work person too. I thought that exact same thing.
And this department is no different than the other two. Right. It deserves equal consideration.
Well, and I think it brings up a great opportunity to problem solve. What contingencies do we have in place for covering our city employees when there is an absence? I mean, that's a much broader topic, but certainly one that applies to this particular situation. And yeah,
People that don't have time.
And also our secondary, our assistant is now.
Our assistant can then
Clifford.
so now we're at that on top of everything else, so our assistant's done on Saturday. So now Lori has 2 jobs to do, plus a part-time job that she does working in the Johnson Library. So that's one more reason why we want to go full-time and for benefits, is that she would have to work about working a second job. Because she's trying to juggle a lot right now.
Are you guys looking to replace the assistant, a
Yes,
part-time
yes,
person,
yes.
so that if Lori does need to be
Yes.
gone?
Yeah,
So who takes that? Who does that?
Who does that?
that takes out Lori.
But it could be more than 3 hours instead of just a Saturday,
We were told that Lori is only given 29 hours,
right? Yep,
and anything additional has to come out of her 29 hours. So that would take money away from Lori.
so who's responsible to put any ad out there for that?
Lori will put it out.
To fill that
Yeah,
position?
the director hires, the director hires, we hire.
Okay.
and the city's got a hiring posting that they go through, so
So
they're
she'll
not
post
going.
it, she'll post it, at the post office, she'll post it at the library, and she will post it on the city web, or the state website, the state will post it for us.
So we're actually getting people who are interested in the library and.
That's 3 hours. It's the one that we had now was a Saturday. She put her 3 hours. So she was paid $10 an hour, and so she made $30 when she came on Saturday. So she made $30. It's sometimes harder to find an assistant that will bring in for that small time, and that's.
Yeah, wasn't she going to school or something too? to
Yeah,
become-
she did, yeah.
I think now.
That's actually why she.
Good on the rest of it.
Yeah,
That's exactly.
which is something that we've also talked about, what's happened, we maybe utilize something like that, but right now, I think our main concern is giving Lori.
Honestly, if council persons have questions between now and when we get a chance to dive into this during the work session, please feel free to call me, text me, or email me. If I don't have the answer, again, I can pick out research.
I do have a comment. A librarian does a lot and to be in and out of social things. There's so much more behind the scenes things that go on to keep the library successful. Community of a school like myself, you don't just sit around and wait for the next person to come in and check something out. There's lots of things that have done, so before joining this, I had no idea what was happening in our local library, and shame on me for that, but, yeah, I think it would be nice if they're trying to do the work to make a position a full-time position. And for our community, yeah, for our community, for our kids.
We have more kids enrolled in the Cambridge school, so many that it's pushed Mr. Mackey out of the office. And we need to get on a level playing field with other library salaries in that area in the state. We need to meet those.
I wish you would have brought it, budget, when we were talking about the budget. We just have to look at the budget and see if we can get it in there.
We were never, the salary has never been part of our budget.
No,
So,
our, the city.
well, so our city budget, when we're told about the city budget, we give you our budget. We have requested in the past 3 times for raises and we've all had gotten different excuses. So
Yeah.
to us, it's like we put our request in, we've been told no. We've taken the steps that we thought that we needed to take, so.
We just need to look at the budget and make sure. we
Right.
get it in there.
Mrs. DeBricky, would it be improper for me to share details of the rough draft of our 5-year plan that we go into work sessions, they get a clear sense of the leadership that Lori is providing and the focus moving forward?
Our strategic plan.
Yeah,
that we're
yeah.
working on. Yeah, just as long as.
As long as they understand that it's a rough draft, and that, yeah, okay.
It's nowhere near it used to be, but.
It's in the works.
Yeah.
And we're building this strategic plan for the next 3 years, which we're required to do. And it's, yes.
Mr. Mayor, if there are no other council comments, I would like to entertain a motion to table action on this and move it to a work session, so we can get a deep dive into it and come up with the most fiscally responsible yet socially responsible outcome for all the parties involved.
Just one final question. So if she moves to full-time, will that adjust the hours that the library is open and still allow her time to get whatever she needs to get done without being interrupted?
It should.
I would say yes.
If there's a need to have it open more.
That's something that Lori would have to.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
Well, I think the structure is such that if you were to make her full-time, then that half of these hours wouldn't be coming out of her allotment. So technically, she's working 26 hours, doing the work of, no, she's not,
No, she's working 29 hours.
29
And we
hours,
pay the other person on top of that.
okay. So, I think that would be,
She's working 29 hours with the library open full time, so we could possibly, adjust it where it would be open more and then just give her a couple hours to shut. So that she'd be able to, that's stuff that we're willing to discuss with you guys.
So I've been here through 2 budget sessions and not one librarian has ever came, or anybody from the libraries came to either one and asked for a raise. And I've been here through 2 of them. We've never heard this.
We just got.
yeah, that's right, because you got a raise.
Right.
Yeah.
Started.
Yeah.
January 2022. Was when she was hired.
Yeah,
full-time. She
I was here. That's here. Yeah, but 2 years after that, never heard anything about a budget deal or nothing. Or last year even. So,
it's all about keeping them employed.
right. Budget time starts around January, so December, January, so it's like that every year. It's gotta be in by March 30th, I believe.
Forgiving you,
That's awesome. That's awesome.
What was the time frame, just out of curiosity, for hiring the other assistants in the other departments? Did that fall before budget time?
Right
I'm
now.
just curious.
Yeah, hire right now. Yep.
Well, I also feel like we're not asking for a whole salary. We're asking for in addition to
Yep.
the salary. So
Right.
it's not a whole new job,
Right.
not a
Yep.
whole
But-
new staff.
There's benefits and stuff now too, so it's not just a salary increase, you're talking healthcare, vision, all that, so it's not just, a
Could
couple.
you repeat, please, you were interrupted.
What's that again?
Repeat that.
Oh, it's not just like a couple more hours, 11 hours a week, you're talking benefits, so healthcare, vision, dental, so that's where that comes in.
To be in accordance like with the other city workers, I feel like she should have that chance. Should be given that option.
So when do you want to do a work session?
Want me to tell you when you wanted to board that?
Yep.
You wanted it
No,
before?
September or what?
September would be better for me. August is bad.
September as in September before the week before. Next city council.
That's Labor Day,
That's Labor Day.
Okay,
September
how about that
Tuesday,
Tuesday?
that's fine. September sixth, Wednesday.
The church night.
And I have a class Wednesday nights.
Thursday night's park and rec board meeting, but we are done at 7:30.
I have class Thursday.
You guys are busy people, holy buckets. And then the tail end of August is out of the door for you, okay?
I mean, I can do my best, but we ran into problems with the ice. So as soon as I get back from North Carolina, I'm gonna be working 15-hour days.
Could we do that last Thursday of August? What's that date?
31st.
We can schedule it and I'll do my best to be there.
I won't.
You won't be there? You got class that night too?
Thursday nights are out.
What about
Tuesday.
what about the 28th?
Is that Monday?
Yeah,
So, because
since we all have Monday and Thursday, seems like we got a week night's a little bit tough.
Yeah.
28th.
Monday the
Want to
28th,
start at 6,
Yeah.
Monday the 28th.
please? So do I have to make a motion? There's a point of order.
No,
No?
it's not even an action item. That was just a presentation, so
And
we just has to put it on a work session.
sure, we're going at 6 P.M.
Yep.
And I will have more data. And a rough draft of the, what's it called?
Strategic plan.
Strategic plan. Is there anything else you'd like me to have in order for that work session?
Can we talk about an idea of the salary, like what, kind of the average is, you know?
Can you guys provide me some competitive data of other librarians of similar? Can we condense it so it's not? I mean, short, better.
Not 200 pages like that.
Okay, yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
I highlighted it.
So. What would you call that with a pay summary,
Salary.
comparable pay summary?
Average salary, like that.
Okay. Just so that. So I've got 3 things I need to get ready for the 28th. Data on library growth, rough draft strategic plan, and a pay summary of comparable demographics for libraries. It doesn't have to be statewide, it doesn't take like 5.
I have to be like.
I don't want statewide, that's why it's 200 pages long. I want to thank the library board, and before we finish up, I also wanted to introduce Deb Malone, sir.
Yes.
Deb Malone is the school's librarian at East.
Seen her the other night.
She's debating on whether or not she wants to be a part of the team. I think she thinks she has options.
Okay.
Okay, so then you can add that to the thing for her to add to the library board, then we need her approval, you need your approval.
So do we need to move that to the agenda for September?
It'll be on the agenda for
Okay.
September.
Okay.
Somebody sends me all the information, name, all that
I
stuff.
got them from over.
A week before the agenda, not like the day of the agenda, a week.
Day of
before the
the
agenda.
meeting.
Yep. All right. So any further
I
comments?
just want to thank the library one day. I thought they did a wonderful.
I think you did a great job too. Any further comments, ladies, anybody?
And they do.
You good? Thank you.
Thanks for spending some time with us tonight.
We'll get Lori.
All right, moving on to the approval of the consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Roll call, Baxter,
Aye.
Harper, Bassett,
Aye.
Mackey,
Aye.
McBreen.
Aye.
You?
All right, moving on to business items. We need to set a date for a public hearing for the Ankeny sanitation contract.
So, the reason that we're setting the date is after doing some more investigating, after we had our work session. Come to find out that from 2020, when the city signed the contract. The rates were supposed to increase by 3% each year and they did not. So what is on some utility bills for current charges are not what they're supposed to be. With that being said, to get them where they were supposed to be in the first place, then the public hearing is to include the 3%. All of that was approved, it just wasn't put in the software program.
So that dates back to 2022?
That was 2020, it was a 3-year contract.
Okay.
The other thing that everyone needs to consider is this new contract, they're asking for a 5-year contract. Do we really want to get into a 5-year contract, or can we ask to do year to year, which gives us the reminder to put those 3% increases onto the utility bill?
What works best for you?
I would go with the year. What happens if after a year or two, you want to look at other options? It gives you that opportunity to go out for bids again. With other
We
companies.
don't have to change the ordinance every year.
I
No,
don't-
you probably, and
I don't-
it changes your,
I don't think the cycle of the contract is codified.
but the last one we did was only a 3-year one. Do we really want to go into a 5-year?
That part of it, that's not part of it.
The new one will be part of, yeah, you have to have an ordinance change. That's why we have to have the public hearing.
Every what?
Do it to 3 years, like
Think they'll do 3 years.
do a 3-year contract like they did in the past. It'll just be that reminder to increase that. So they're supposed to go out, they're supposed to get hold of us. They're supposed to go out and check the consumer price index. And what the rate is at the consumer price index. If it's less than 3%, then their increase only goes to what the consumer price is.
So it's never gonna.
But if it's more than 3%,
Oh,
they can only increase us 3%
so
as
it's never gonna be a greater increase of 3%.
never greater than
I
3%.
think it's more fiscally responsible to do a 3-year contract,
Right.
because if you go yearly, we can get
Then-
bumped,
Right.
we could experience a 6% increase.
Well, they can't go higher than the consumer price index. Which I have no idea, I've never
Consumer
looked into
price
that.
index higher.
Does it been pretty high?
So do you want 5 then?
You want 5 or you want to look at 3 again?
Are they asking for 5?
They're asking for 5, that's what the
That would make
contract
them
is
happy.
delivered. Huh?
That would make them happy.
I don't know, I have to reach out to him, he's asked a few
So
times.
that's what they're asking.
We have to put that up in green, that would be my.
Point of order.
Like the garbage guys.
You can't talk right now. You can't talk right now.
I'm just asking a simple question. Are we putting that up a bid or are we just taking another company, picking this in?
So I say,
So it's up to you guys, if you want me to reach out to him to ask for a 3-year contract rather than a 5-year contract or not.
Change.
maybe they-
On what? Yeah, they've been good to us.
Huh?
They've been good to us.
I know they have.
Good five.
But 5 does keep you that they can't go higher
Oh,
than
that's
3%. So that's just, I wanted to put that out there. So
I just wanna make sure that we're releasing. Taylor, are you listening to this?
Yeah, my opinion at this point is to stay with the 5 if it locks us in at 3%. I mean, our world is crazy right now. Who knows when we're gonna have another pandemic or inflation and stuff. So if it locks us in at 3% and then it's just part of budget where every
Right.
July 1st, rates go up.
Correct. Yeah,
So yeah, we pick that date and we just know July 1st, your rates are going up.
So it requires an ordinance change, which we have to have, public hearing. So there have to be, public hearings, gonna have to be 3 readings, so that the public is aware of.
The reading being waived.
It can be if the council so chooses, yes.
No.
Do we need a motion to set that? Well. Yes, basically.
All right, I move to set the date for September 11th for the public hearing on the sanitation contract.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
I
Opposed? So here, I'll take a minute here. This is not a public hearing, okay? So if you want to continue to talk, you can go outside. You can be removed. It's your choice if you want to continue talking. This is not a public hearing. This isn't a public hearing. This is for council right here to talk. Joe?
It's what he said, it's not a public hearing, any comments from the audience, it's asked at the first of the meeting, and then the audience has to remain quiet. If you need to converse, talk with one another, we can talk outside. Any comments directed to the council is not allowed.
Good. Joe, would you please escort them out? I know, but please.
Please.
No.
I would be happy.
So the date's set.
Yes, September 11th. Give me time to get it in the paper. And get the, resolution and stuff, or ordinance change and resolution all prepared.
All right, moving on to departments. The water or roads,
Good, I haven't heard anything on the roads yet.
okay. Okay. Cemetery parks,
We met last Thursday. We've got a bunch of homework being done with regards to board members gathering information on park budgets in similar demographics. I believe we identified 8 communities that various board members are making contact with those municipalities, finding out what they're spending on their parks, what their parks plan is, whether they've got a 5-year plan. The voter park is on an agenda item for later on, so I will withhold any comments with regards to that. David Praska is our newest member. I'm assuming board approval won't be a problem, but he's joining us and is kind of a big and go-getter. He's taken responsibility for bringing the truck pulls back to town. And then it's a big reason why we're looking at the transition from the motor park being a separately run entity on city property to being something that we're back in control of, looking at it being safer, looking at ways to improve it, and looking at a way to have it generate a little bit of revenue.
you wanna wait till we get to there, explain that a little bit more?
Why don't I wait until a little bit later? and explain?
You're going, you're on it.
We could just cross it out.
Cemetery's good though, it's getting mowed, looks very nice.
It looks better. The month before I went, it looked like you went down one side of the headstones and then didn't come back on the other side. But this time around, it looks good. I am exploring some options with regards to replacing, getting a grant from the American Legion to replace the flagpole down there with a big one. That is more appropriate to honoring the people who are dressed in their final. Yes.
Somebody said the first time they tried to install that, it's too wet and it wouldn't hold the pole. Just an FYI, sorry.
Well, those are things that we'll soon find out.
That's what I heard.
Can we get that one stone fixed, or that stone on the north side?
But
fixed?
I believe we have that.
That's good.
You fix that stone up, Dave, you know? This.
That stone on the north side.
Down, did we get it glued back up?
We get that?
I can't.
The,
Tombstone, they split the tombstone back. Oh, yes, yeah.
I thought we did. We're getting, one more bid on the seasonal, restroom facilities for Jacora and for the trailhead. And then we'll bring that to the council for you guys to decide on whether we wanna hold off until next budget year and budget for it. Or if we wanna actually take 3 or 4 months that are left and get those porta potties in place. I've got a couple of folks working on a bid for the concrete and subbing in electrical and plumbing for the trailhead project. And everything else is in the works. That's pretty much the highlights, and we'll come to the motor park part later on.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Moving on to library.
We're still working on our 5-year strategic plan. Our summer program was a huge success. We had 40 events in June and July, and we had 853 people attend from the cities of Cambridge, Elkhart, Ames, Huxley, and Nevada. We had 48 participants in our summer reading program. We have officially our new library cards, which Barb designed, so we say thank you. So those are ready to go for patrons. Last time we talked about getting the library signs to make it visible in town where the library was, and Dale found a couple. So we will be putting those up. And Nicole Straker, who is our part-time person in the library, her last day will be Saturday. She is finishing her degree in library science, and she needs to work at a big library for an internship. So she really enjoyed being here, loves it, but she's trying to get bids for other jobs, obviously. So I will be posting that job this week. And and we also have lanyards that the board requested that people would like those for their library cards, especially kids riding bikes type of thing, that they can come in and have that.
Very nice. Any questions, any further discussion, library? Moving on to finance, economic development.
So, we applied for a boost grant and we were denied, but the grant is available again. So I'm working with Mid-Iowa Planning Association. It's a $15,000 grant. And they will work with us to get the comprehensive plan in place. That was 2007 was the last time it was updated. That plan helps the city annex and move ahead with growing and economic development. So I'm working on that. We have one new member on that steering committee, Jace Reiner, who's a junior in high school at Valley Community. Oh, because they told us that was why we didn't get the grant. We didn't have anybody young. So now we have the steering committee set. So the deadline's August 30th, and I'll write that up and submit it. So we'll get that money. Corey Cedrell, realtor for the Opera House, wants to meet. He has a developer who wants to talk about possible developing areas around Cambridge. So that's August 31st at 11 here in City Hall. And then the Story County Economic Development Group meeting was July 20th. I couldn't make it. But the next one is October 26th. So it'd be nice if someone on the council or Susan would want to come. I don't know where it's at right now, but we will be getting a grant for $7,000 from them, which we have been designated for the sign, for the digital sign we want to put up by the post office, but we can discuss that at some point. So that, the last 5,000 we got, we were gonna allocate that for that sign. So now we have 12,000.
Patrick said the meeting was on the 31st.
26 at 10 a.m. That's it.
Any further comments, discussion?
Oh, October 26th.
Moving on to communications.
The next Story County Hazard Mitigation Plan meeting will be August 22nd from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Nevada Administrative Building. They're gonna go over the submitted mitigation action strategies that all the cities and jurisdictions turned in and identify any new actions to include in the new hazard mitigation plan.
That's what we went over during the work session.
Yeah,
Right.
that's where we decided to get, or aim to get, generator.
Generator.
That's it.
All right, any further discussion? Communication. Moving on to fire. Is there anything over at the fire department, anything over there? Fire station?
They've all got some new gear.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we got 3 new message students.
I think that's what the gear was for. Wasn't that what the gear was for? Was the 3 new members, gear, something like that. Alright. Is the remodel coming along?
Yeah,
Closer?
we did the order cabinets last week.
Okay. Moving on to police, we've got the police report in front of us, I believe, but is there anything else you guys, Joe, you've been doing an awesome job on handing out ordinance violations?
Like I said, each officer that works this shift, you'll spend an hour over here. Sometimes we'll have 6 officers, in a 24-hour period, and it's 6 hours.
Okay. Okay.
No problems, we've had a few incidents over here. Doing traffic control mainly, and I've been doing ordinance violation.
Yep. All right, thank you. Is there any further comments or discussion for police? All right, moving on, discussion items, Cambridge Off-Road Enterprise Park. Mr. Matt.
What's enterprise? I thought that was a ship.
So I found the membership form that they actually used when members joined, and it's called CORE, Cambridge Off-Road Enterprise. So the E is for.
Is that what you can see it?
Yes.
And I also was cleaning out some coverage in there, found a whole binder about the off-road park, if you would like to come in and look through it sometime.
Maybe, what? Are you gonna be around at 11 on Wednesday when we meet with the Lago?
I'm always around.
Maybe that's something we can look at afterwards, or.
We're gonna discuss that with him. also.
Yeah, I can do that. So we've got transition issues with regards to the Aqua Park being run by a private entity on public ground. We've taken control of it. David is extremely instrumental in moving forward with this.
We shut it down.
Right now it's shut down. Right now it is shut down while we try to figure out liability issues, insurance issues, and come up with some sensible plan of how we're gonna move forward with this. That said, Thursday at 6 o'clock, the Park and Recreation Board has got a work session on Sunday. To generate ideas. Look, I'm not that familiar with this space. Many of you are, so it'll be an opportunity to get everybody on our board in the right state of mind to see what they're. Yes, ma'am. And I'll send out the reminders. Relax, you're fine.
So do we have a sign down there now with David's phone number on it for people that show up there that they can call you instead of calling City Hall and blowing it up here?
Right now, Anthony's number is still down there yet. They've been calling him, that said can't get in. And then, so either referring us to else.
Dale, didn't you say the city hall's number is down there at the park?
It's on the gate. Yes.
Oh, I don't see it.
Yeah.
Well, do we want? Okay. I don't wanna put additional. Stuff on Susan's plate. I I honestly don't think Anthony's number should be anywhere.
No.
down
No, shouldn't.
but I also have reservations about having Mr. Praskish go and have calls as well. That's not right either. It's not.
What about the people that pay for the 4-year membership?
There's no record of it.
There was.
Yeah, but
There's no record of it.
His
I
website
have,
doesn't close.
10 pages at home. It's the grant members from this.
Okay.
But on
Just
the
a hand-
Well, that website there, they don't use that writer ATV.
Oh,
That,
Okay,
that's an old website.
oh, okay.
I mean, I called Anthony and asked him about that. He said, that's an
Okay.
old website. They don't use no more, nothing. He doesn't even know why it's even up and running. But yes, it does say closed on that.
And it should be closed. We don't have any liability.
Well, we do. It's under part of the city's umbrella policy. It is.
I talked
Oh,
to
it
Mike
is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Salmore
we
today,
talked-
in our ICAP insurance, but that's the cost to the city, and that's why we're looking at meeting with the attorney.
Right.
Some of the membership
Okay.
fees.
Okay.
Somehow to have part of it come back to the city.
So we are paying insurance. to have people-
We have a liability
Okay,
It's an umbrella.
umbrella on there,
Okay.
because it's,
Covers everything.
because it's city owned,
okay.
so we have to have some type
Oh, I know.
of liability on it, yes, but we didn't know.
So,
Whitney, how hard is it to get a website closed down? If, I mean,
It depends on who owns it.
He'd
Website.
have to
don't,
close it.
on a website, don't they have to post their. Some sort of identification at the bottom that they can hunt the person down and say, hey. No,
Not
I don't,
necessarily. What's the website?
I don't know.
Writer ATV. Something like that.
So right now, we're meeting with the attorney at 11 on Wednesday.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And then we've got a work session on site. The evening of the 17th, and then. I'm going in there, I couldn't even tell you where it's gonna go from there. Well, I know it's gonna go places. The idea right now is that we wanna see it. Be a safe place for people to do this, we wanna maintain city control of the space. We want to make incremental improvements to it as we move forward and have the finances to it, and then we want it to be a revenue. Opportunity, and we also want it to be part of this. You said something, sir.
Oh,
I can't happen to remember when it was, but I was actually listening. And you said, people on 210 headed out to pick pumpkins or apples or ride donkeys.
yep.
Drive right by and don't turn left.
A little different subject, but yeah.
Yes, but I was listening. I think people are willing to turn left for something like this. And so we're working really hard to get it so that they're turning left. And then it can be part and parcel of something that we can build off of. And I'm sure that in your economic conversations, parks come into play and you have to stop and go back there. In our conversations in parks, we start talking about economic growth and I have to say, no, that's, no, wait, that's somebody else's job.
No, that's
No,
part
but build it and they will come. And
are the G people trying to use it?
yes, they
Okay.
will always be partners and
Okay.
probably, are you a member of the G organization? No, no. So you are? Yeah. Yeah, you got a big red Jeep. don't you? There you go.
A yellow one and a black one.
So are we gonna leave this subject to the parks to work with? We'll talk to the lawyer Wednesday.
Well, I would imagine that it would make sense to have a
Okay.
bunch work on it. It's a ton.
Okay, sounds good.
But as for right now, with it being closed, I mean, there needs to be an explanation to the people that did pay.
Well, and
Maybe it is.
the question is, does it have to be closed? If we're covered for liability and we have been up to this point.
Yeah.
I really don't see any reason for people to not be able to go, what's changed?
Right, you only have 2 months of summer left, run it out to January 1, you wanna close it down, then restructure it, come up with a new plan, great.
I think we can probably restructure, because it doesn't get you to typically do people stay out of there in the winter months.
I would ask. the lawyer.
You say that.
I would say most do stand up.
So why don't we wait to hear what the law dog has to say
Right,
on Wednesday and then make a determination, because it's not an actionable thing that the council
No.
has to do, it's just a matter of agreeing that.
Send it forward.
I mean, there are people who pay a significant amount of money membership wise. They should be able to go in there.
let's talk to the lawyer.
Yeah,
Okay,
do you, if a decision gets made to open that, are you guys okay with me kicking that out to you via text or email?
I'd like to see it open by Thursday.
Well,
They don't, the lawyer.
I'm talking about communication, sir, so people know.
That's something we put on Facebook. I don't think anything. We didn't bring that.
Actually, put it on Facebook, we're gonna want it.
Right, don't do anything till you have.
Yeah, we're not at a point now that we want to start generating memberships just yet. That's part of the transition that we haven't worked out.
I would wait.
I can text the people that have turned in their forms and let them.
Let's go that route then, and then I'll let you guys know via text what we talked about, what we talked to the lawyer on Wednesday.
So the question is what Dale has come across is there's evidently Anthony gave keys to every person that got a membership. You never collected them back. So people that haven't paid, how do you monitor who?
So the way that works is. The way it's worked the last 5 years, I've worked with Anthony about the HB part of it. So I've always got a membership every year. Every April, new lock is put on, new keys. Right. So anybody with old key can't get in anymore.
But when Dale went down there, there was, city had a lock and Anthony had a lock. The key Anthony was given out, unlocked both locks.
Yeah, keys to. Oh, now that I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I have a key at home. That's.
Well, that's not a problem anymore. So everybody's locked out. Let's figure out what we need to do, make a decision on Wednesday and move forward from there. Going up, I mean, honestly, I would like to see people riding again on Thursday. They pay for it, but if we're covered, but let's see what the legal guy has to say first.
Okay.
You good with that, Mr. Praska?
My only question is. Can we, like, if we have new people come in and if we're okay on legal wise, can we just like prorate from now until January? I don't have a problem with that.
I don't have a problem with it either, but I want to see what the lawyer says. I just don't want to put ourselves in a situation where we've got something special going on here. I don't want to see us end up behind the 8 yard.
But if it's okay, we can find some generic form for them to give all their information on it.
Cambridge off of it, price.
I would like to see us just going forward, and this is more of a part thing. Moving forward, I'd like to see it be named so that it's something more reflective of Cambridge. And
Lagoon.
Miss Jen, you good with this? Jennifer's Jennifer Day is a bona fide member of the Parks Board.
All right, any further discussion with the park? Moving on to the Opera House updates. We're still waiting on a dialer. Apparently we gotta have a dialer. We might have to spend a little more money and put
A dialer?
gotta have a dialer so that the sprinkler system can call out if it's ever activated. That's what they said. So, with that, I have to pour a pad for handicap parking in the back. And we still gotta tally up some numbers to, have King Construction pay for some of the electrical work since we paid for all the power from the pole.
Did we meet
From
with
day
Corey regarding the Opera House 2 weeks ago?
We're gonna talk to him, August 31st. He's coming down.
But that was for you.
Oh, you're talking
That's different,
Corey.
Corey.
Yeah,
Talking about, I'm talking about that realtor. You're
The
talking-
lady sold with the farm. On plans, on, huh?
that's just like that.
He's positive, he's not good.
I am.
So. That's what I know from the Opera House. Is there any comments or discussion on the Opera House? Moving on to mayor, council comments, think I'm good.
Teachers at East will report back for, work service duties the 18th. They'll work 21, 18, 21 and 22. Back to school night is Monday evening, the 21st. And students will resume classes in all district buildings the 23rd, it being a Wednesday. You might be saying to yourself, on an early dismissal, no, Wednesday will be a full day of school. It will be an exception to the early dismissal schedule. And summer's over. The new superintendent, I had an opportunity to meet with her at length. She seems to be a very spirited, very proactive, very knowledgeable and experienced leader. I know some of you have had opportunities. She's been very connected to communities, holding meetings with parents, meetings with staff, meetings with commercial entities and all the Ballard communities. I did, as was noted in the last meeting, extend to her an invitation to come and visit with us. And we both agreed that it would probably be better if something like that was done a little later. She said her day job is better. Sure. Which I probably agree with. And I did bring up the notion of the ball fields with her, so she's got her barrels on that one as well. So please be careful driving next week. Don't run over any kids. That's my biggest fear when they salmons go out. That's 740.
Do we know the bus pickup spots yet?
Oh, got a new bus in town. Sorry, I totally forgot about that, man. Sir. There'll be a south stop at the Methodist Church as always, and then he's got a north stop scheduled at the county building. By adjacent to Lutheran Church, so that should cut down on the number of rugrats at this bus stop, which on certain days.
The number of children, I think is what you meant.
What I say? Rugrats? No, I think I'm gonna stick to rugrats. No, children, young people. So yes, we do have a new bus stop in town. And then the dividing line again was, if you live north of 4th Street, you're gonna go to that bus stop. If you're south of 4th Street, you'll go to this bus stop. And you know, if it proves to be unbalanced, it's a pretty reasonable gentleman. You probably figure something out. Something to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I almost forgot.
Are there any further comments, council comments, anybody else? Anything to say?
Yep. We had a 911 board meeting last Wednesday. So the tower in Slater is doing really good. The communications have been really cleared up, so everybody's super happy with that. When I get back, I'll get all the information and stuff. They are giving out grants to help subscriber fees that went up drastically this year. You know, especially for the smaller communities where it impacts us more. So, I'll get that paperwork and everything, work with Susan and everybody and Dale and Matt and everybody. Get that applied for, so hopefully we can get some help with the increased prices there.
Thank you
Good job,
for doing
Jane.
that. I make a motion to adjourn.
I second that motion.
All in favor to adjourn, say aye.
Bye.
All opposed? Ayes have it, meeting's adjourned. Thank you.